Alright guys, so this is my Nightmarionne plush custom, and no tutorial really. I'm not showing you me making him. I'm gonna review him and tell you how I made him, but you won't see me make him. Now I know I sometimes do custom figures, plushies, or mystery minis. Not always, but sometimes I'll do it. I'll make a review video and a custom video, and sometimes I'll just do a review video because it's hard to do customs. Not all the time I know how it's gonna go, so I don't do it on recording because sometimes I don't have an idea. For example, like this one, I wasn't sure how I was gonna do it, but I just did over time. And the Yellow Rabbit, I already had an idea how I was gonna do it because I was inspired by Travis Plush Production. So boom, I just did that, which I kind of did the same for him, so I could do a review, but at the same time I wasn't sure how I was gonna cover the cheeks during the time, wasn't sure how good the photo was gonna be, and also on camera when I'm filming, my iPad has to be set down and I have to have my arms up and doing it in front of the camera, which is more difficult. But when I'm not filming, I can just be like, my hands are together, nothing's in the way, I don't have to show anything. So yeah, but anyways, what I did was I went to GameStop. This is the restocked puppets. That's a GameStop exclusive. They had two. I bought one because I was originally going to do a Phantom puppet, but I thought Nightmarionne would be better. And yeah, so I'll tell you what I did. I'll go in order what I did. First off, I wanted to think of what I was going to do for the chest because he has like this rib cage. So I was going to use black felt, but I didn't have any. And then my Nana got some towels. She gave me a black one, and I noticed it had like this nice rough material on the edge. So I had her cut it off because she's better at doing straight lines than me, and she cut one piece off because originally I was going to use more than that, both sides, but I realized it's kind of bigger than I thought. So, and I like the texture to look like a ribcage, so I used glue to glue it all around, and the back isn't glued, but only the front is, and I only have Elmer's glue. I didn't have hot glue since she hasn't used it in years. So, and we don't know where it is. So I had to use Elmer's glue, and I had to glue it a couple times. I had to glue it in total maybe 3 or 4 times because it kept coming off, and I kept pressing down on it, and eventually you can see the glue stains, and eventually it just wasn't peeling off. Now I'm not going to pull it, but it's staying. So there's that. Second, while this was after this dried, I took a black Sharpie and I did the easy parts. I re-Sharpied the cheeks. I mean, not the cheeks, the lips, black. So yeah, I did a couple coats. I did one, and you could still see a little bit of the red under it. So I waited for that to dry while I was doing the teardrops. And then after this dried, I did my second coat. And while that was drying, I did my second coat on the teardrops. And then they were darker, and you couldn't see the color under it. And I did it on streaks going down because it kind of gave off that mark where you could see the lines, but now you can't even see the lines anymore, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I was very careful. I even tried coloring right under it so you wouldn't see the white. I forgot to do it here, so if you look up you can see a little bit of the white, but it's fine. Then I cut out some gray teeth and did it around. They're not perfectly sharp, but I'm pretty satisfied. I didn't have white teeth, which I prefer using white felt, which I didn't have white, so I used gray, which to be honest, maybe gray is better. You know, it looks like he's a little bit older, so I used some gray felt. Then I tried my best to do circles. I suck at circles, so what I did first, I did a Sharpie, and then I cut it, and I made sure to cut it a little bit smaller so the Sharpie marks wouldn't show, and it looks pretty good. I used glue, and I only used one Elmer's glue once. I put them on, since the felt's pretty light, the same for the teeth, so they could stay on pretty easily, unlike the towel, which is a lot bigger. This one's a little loose, kind of. That one's fine. And then I was originally going to use white. I was originally going to Sharpie these black, like Mario Muffet Adventures one, but I looked at some references and I noticed one guy, because not a lot of people have done Nightmarionne custom. I noticed one guy that actually did a Funko plushie one. Instead of making their own custom like plushie from scratch, they actually used whiteout to cover the cheeks, and I thought that looked genius because I've still only found one person that's done that. All the other people I found online that made Nightmarionne custom either made them black or they just made a complete scratch custom. So I said I was gonna do whiteout, and my Nano luckily had some, and it actually looks really good. So yeah, I'm really happy with how that looks. And then the last thing I did was use a black Sharpie to Sharpie all the white lines and the buttons. Now I did it 3 times, twice to be just to make it darker, a little bit darker, and the third time was to just make sure that to cover any spots that looked lighter than the others. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It seems difficult, but to be honest, it was one of those easier customs. I had this thing done, like not counting the time where I had to decide what I was going to use, like the items. Because it took me a while to decide what I was going to use, but the time when I was actually doing the work, and I did this all at once, not getting distracted, it took me only like an hour. Because maybe not even an hour, probably maybe 40 minutes sounds about right. So yeah, not bad, pretty good. I liked it. And yeah, I do want to go back again one day at the GameStop and get another one, but so I can do Phantom Puppet. But I already spent my money online. Like I spent the rest of my money online to make to get Found by a Springtrap plushie and by Custom Molten Freddy. So yeah, I hope this helped. I kind of needed a video idea, and I don't know if it's gonna help or not. But yeah. Also, new character.